Now, one of our doctors, Dr. Ed Chauvin, if you haven't had the privilege of meeting him yet, he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And he is a huge doctor and proponent of this work. You know, he's really taken this work on. From the first seminar he took, he said, you know, I'm going to do 100% quantum neurology. At the time it was GRT, but 100% quantum neurology. And his staff went nuts, you know, because the very next day in his practice he says, I'm changing everything. I'm doing quantum neurology from now on. And he is one of the most successful quantum neurology practitioners we have because of that. And by successful, I mean, you know, financially he's being blessed from the work that he's doing, but he's being blessed financially because of the success he has with his patients. He calls me up and tells me, every patient's a miracle. Every patient is recovering from things that they thought they couldn't recover from. You know, and he talks about, you know how easy back pain is, you know how easy all the typical things that he used to see are to correct, that those aren't even issues anymore. And, you know, he's become famous in his local area as the person who gets people well. Okay? So he called, you know, his office called me up one day, and I was traveling, I was in Northern California. They called me up and they said, Dr. Chauvin had a severe brain aneurysm. We don't know if he's going to live. Okay? And he's become a good friend of mine over the years. So, you know, imagine getting that call about a good friend of yours. And I can't tell you why, but I had this peace about me. I'm just like, okay. You know, everything's going to be okay. I didn't know why, I didn't know how. I just knew it. And you know, because of the legal situations of things, I didn't know his family at that time very well, so I couldn't just walk into the hospital and they wouldn't let me in because they really didn't know who I was personally. Not until after his surgery and he became conscious was he able to ask for me. Okay, so the last time I saw Ed was when I left his hospital room in Louisiana. That's the last time I saw him. But when I first saw him in the hospital, it was, you know, a very typical aneurysm scene. He was so fortunate to survive his surgery. He had a baseball-sized aneurysm, okay, which is, you know, they said, what, less than 17% of the people will survive that?
Less than 17% survive the surgery. And out of those 17% that do, like 80 to 90% of them have severe neurological problems for the rest of their life.
Right. They were, when I flew out there, they had fired Ed's staff. Okay? This is how serious it was. They fired his staff because there was no way somebody with that severe of an aneurysm could recover.
They told my family that I would need round-the-clock care for at least a year.
At least.
At least, they said at least a year, and they didn't put any time limit on it. They said at least a year.
If you haven't experienced a miracle in your practice, which I'm pretty confident you have, this miracle it's as good as you get. And the first thing we did is we did cranial nerve 10, right?
You know, it's incredible. Yeah, because you guys have all seen the miracles that happen, you know. Well, I got to tell you something about George Gonzalez. Because the man, his true heart is, he flew all the way down to Louisiana to take care of me. And that's the reason why I'm here today, because, you know, I'm completely recovered. I mean, my neurosurgeon friend who was assisting the surgery, he calls me up almost every month and says, so how you doing? Are you doing okay? I say, Julian, I'm healed, man. And he said, get out of here. Nobody does that. And he's been doing neurosurgery for 27 years now.
All of Ed's doctors, all of his nurses said pretty much the same thing. They've never in their careers seen anyone recover as well as he has. After the first treatment, I saw him in the ICU. Literally, not even 5 minutes I could spend in there because they just rushed us in and out. And I focused on, you know, cranial nerve 10, right? And I did some accommodation And I did some stuff with his smiling and the yuck, yuck, yuck stuff that everybody enjoys so much.
Why seemingly?
Okay? And, you know, we just kind of leave and, you know, we just, all right, we'll see him tomorrow. And that evening, he improved enough. They took him out of the ICU. They gave him his own room. And he was speaking semi-coherently the next day. I went on to treat him another, it was like 5 times total over 4 days. And, you know, first we just did, you know, the cranial nerves. And then the second treatment, we did the myotomes and the cranial nerves. And then he slept for 2 days straight. And he literally just sat up in bed and said, I need to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, you know. And he was done. He was done right there. It's just so wonderful to experience that. And it's given me so much fervor and resolve for this work to experience that. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, buddy. But, you know, just like the...
Well, I'm not going through it again.
That's right. But, you know, it's one of those things that it really makes you recognize how valuable this work is and how powerful it is. Okay? So, yeah, thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm